Hi everybody, it's Steph from Stellium Astrology. I'm the host of the podcast. I am currently in my car again, and I'm just sharing some thoughts on a subject today that kind of really grates me. And I might upset some people that use this terminology, but I'm going to have to, share what I really think about this. And it's along the lines of synastry, as I've been explaining. Now, before I get on with the subject matter, I just want to remind you guys that the 100th episode is coming up. I'm going to be interviewed for the 100th episode. If you've got any questions for me, which I'd love all the questions, there's a little link below that you can just submit. I think it says ask me anything /suggestion or make a suggestion. So yeah, please do get in touch and ask me some cues. And yeah, basically, also, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, because I have, towards the end of the year, I'm going to do a prize draw and send one lucky subscriber a Magic of Eye diary by pulling the name out of a hat. Anything else I have to ask you? Oh yeah, review the podcast if you can. It would be I always love getting reviews. When people get in touch with me and send me messages on Instagram, I also love it. It's just wonderful being in touch with you guys. And yes, I'm kind of this podcast has gone a little bit improvisational lately, because obviously I've got all sorts of stuff going on, and so I'm just grabbing my moments where I can. But I just wanted to share with you guys that I really appreciate the love that you guys send me. I've got patrons who message me a lot, and I appreciate all of you. You just keep me going, and I have good times, I have bad times, I have challenges, I have tough times. I'm a human being just like the rest of you guys are, and I go through highs and lows too. And sometimes those little moments that you take your phone out your pocket and send me a message, it just gives me the boost I need to keep on smiling and keep on going. I mean that wholeheartedly. If you do happen to have your phone in your pocket, just pick it up. Just go to this podcast episode, go to the bio, and just go to ask me a question, and just ask me anything. It doesn't have to be astrology related. And while you're there, please do rate and review me on either Apple Podcasts or Spotify. I appreciate that so much if you can take the time to do it. Anyway, let's get on with it. Let's get it on. I just want to talk today, and I don't know if I'm going to talk at great length about this, but I just want to talk today about twin flames, soulmates, that karmic kind of connection. I'm going to annoy people when I'm going to say I really dislike it when people use the term twin flame. And it's not because I don't believe in like that kind of fated meeting with somebody where you've got like unfinished business from a past life, or you've got work to do together in this life, because I have plenty of people in my life that I really feel like we've had lifetimes together. What I don't like is the fact that this kind of it's like a buzzword or something, I don't know. It's being used now as a type of excuse to put up with bad behaviour from people, to be in toxic relationships and stay in toxic relationships and deal with all manner of abuse, because you believe that it's some kind of karmic debt that you have to work through. I will admit, I used to look into this, like, what is a twin flame, blah, blah, blah. One thing I will say with soulmates and with this twin flame theory, I think there's an element of truth to it. Like, I think that, with your soulmate, or with soulmates, because I know that people say there's only one, or like a twin flame, there's only one. I feel as though there's a sense of challenge you have to work through together. You have to go through stuff together. So I'm not saying that it's going to be easy. And I think that that's the sentiment of like soulmates and twin flames. It's like understanding that you are going to be in a relationship which tests you and pushes you, and maybe in some ways makes you a better person for it, or maybe scars you emotionally, and causes you to do some inner work, some shadow work, which ultimately, in a long-term sense, is only going to be beneficial for you to be aware of yourself and, who you truly are, and your impact that you have on other people just by being who you are and watching yourself. The stuff that actually I learned how to do a lot of when I was studying my counselling skills, which I hope to continue at some point. But yeah, I think that this whole twin flame theory and soulmate theory is a really overused kind of excuse for bad behaviour. And especially now, I think with the internet the way it is, there's a page called on Instagram called Beam Me Up Soft Boy, and I found it and I follow it, and it makes me laugh so much, but it also makes me angry because it's screenshots of the messages that guys send to girls, a specific type of guy who's like almost using, I don't know if you've heard of negging. I think it's pretty commonly known now, where you pay someone a backhanded compliment so that you play on something they might be insecure about and make them feel like they want to gain your affection because you've made them feel ugly. It's a technique that gets a lot of really ugly guys laid. My ex-boyfriend told me about it, and then I noticed people tried it on me and my friends and stuff like that. So it's an interesting thing because it's like, playing on somebody's ego in order to get yourself, put yourself in a relationship where a guy might be punching above his weight or something. And it makes me sound like I'm hating on guys right now, and I'm not. And women can probably neg men too, but I just don't know if there's the necessity for it, because as typical gender roles go, and I'm not trying to literally say men are this and women are that, because I know that it's not that simple, but generally speaking, men are not as picky, in my experience, as women can be. So men have to think of ways in order to increase their chances of sowing the seed, so to speak. Basically, I don't know. I think that's quite a toxic way to attract a woman, to use negging. And this Instagram page, Beam Me Up Soft Boy, is all about these guys who are a typical kind of bloke. And they kind of remind me of my ex, actually. Like, really think that they've got very obscure music taste. And they think that they are, like, better than everybody because they know more obscure music. They're just more intelligent. They just have a finer understanding. They also are very arty and very into, just alternative. I don't know. I think the main image is a picture of Kurt Cobain on the Instagram page. And I don't know if necessarily Kurt Cobain's a soft boy. Maybe he is. Having seen the documentary on him, he certainly sounds a bit soft boyish. But it's like they kind of think that they know people and can use certain language without developing any kind of groundwork first, so that they're quite insulting. So this page is just like sometimes you just think, wow, these people are crazy. But also the comments underneath, usually my Aquarius Stellium is always here for the comments. It's the comments that make anything for me, like YouTube, Instagram, anywhere. I find it hilarious reading what people think. But yeah, it's just these soft boys are kind of like what I imagine, some of these like fake spiritual people are like, who would be like, oh man, I feel like you're my queen of 1,000 lifetimes and we absolutely need to be together because I can't be without you. And, it's just, having been in some narcissistic / psychopathic relationships before where I was, I was in a very abusive relationship once. I was subject to violence and stuff. It was horrible, and it was a learning curve for me. A big I suppose it's a big lesson in what not to put up with, basically. But I was in it for 5 years, and in my heart I really thought he was my soulmate. I really thought that he was like somebody I was supposed to be with. And on top of that, like my Venus-Pluto square and my Venus-Saturn square, because I've got a Mercury-Venus conjunction square Saturn and Pluto. In my head, I used to say to myself, if we were married, I wouldn't be able to walk away very easily. When you are with somebody, you make a commitment to them. This is what I used to tell myself. When you're with someone, you make a commitment to them. So if the going gets tough, you don't just leave. And I don't know if that's like because my mum has kind of said that stuff to me growing up, her relationship beliefs, or whether it was something to do with just the fact that I've got that Mercury-Pluto square, which essentially the Venus-Pluto square, sorry, it's like a kind of to death us do part aspect in a relationship, so that can be a very committed aspect. But you kind of are prepared to put up with a lot with that kind of aspect. And I think that people with a lot of fixity also have this kind of commitment thing. But there's difficulty that comes with relationships. But when there's more pain than happiness, when there's too much toxicity, when somebody is making you question who you are, gaslighting you, treating you badly, 1 minute they're loving you and elevating you, and the next minute they're slapping you down, either literally or figuratively, you have to say to yourself, what exactly is this relationship bringing me? And as far as twin flames are concerned, I just know so many people that talk about these relationships that are in where they're putting up with bad treatment. And I'm not saying, he did this, so just leave. Of course, if you're in a long-term relationship and people make mistakes, we're all humans. And when you get into relationships, they're incredibly complicated and emotionally involved. And only you can be the true judge of what is right and what is wrong. But sometimes it takes a bit of perspective to understand what's actually okay and what's not. And if you're suspecting things aren't quite right, it's likely they probably aren't. And you can look at astrology to try and provide insight, and you probably will find some interesting things about your synastry. And often, what's very interesting about synastry is that you find that there's an element of projection too. So if you find that this person is doing stuff that you're really not happy with, you can have a look at the chart and sometimes see that you're also there to experience that through relationships, or it's an element of yourself that you can't integrate. Perfect example of this is when I was with the Pisces, and I've got Neptune in my 7th house, and he was basically just lived in mess, very chaos fueled. And my current partner has a Moon Neptune square as well, by the way. So there's this Neptunian element to my relationships, and I used to think, oh, why do I attract all these messy guys? And they're just kind of when I say evasive, their behaviour is with some things they can't make commitments properly and things like that. And then I realised, I've got Neptune in my 7th house. It's part of who I am. I have to experience that, but I'm projecting it. When I lived on my own, I had nobody to blame, and I found myself doing the things I used to have a go at my ex for, and I was like, oh my God, it is me. So don't forget the projection element, but remember that, there are some things we're just not meant to be putting up with, that you can walk away from, as long as it feels safe. And maybe it doesn't feel safe. I know I've had in my previous relationships, I went through Pluto on my descendant when I was younger, and I met some people that I was scared to break up with because I didn't know what they would do to me or my family. I was also scared of, the guy who used to be violent towards me because I didn't know what would happen if I tried to break up with him. So, you just have to be conscious about your situation and be sensible about your blaming, your finger pointing, and figure out the truth. Try and understand whether it's a role you're playing or it's a role they're playing, and whether or not it's actually okay. Because I feel like using the term twin flame is like an excuse. It's like saying, let's just let them get away with it. Screw it. It's an excuse for just putting up with things. It's almost like a kind of procrastination tool for bad relationships. And like I said, I do believe in soulmates. I do believe in an element of twin flame. I do think there's a sense of being in a relationship that, tests you in this life and pushes you in certain directions. And I've talked about the nodes before. I think they play a large part of that. But I don't think we are meant to put up with abusive behaviour from others or be abusive. And I feel like when you say, oh, we're twin flames, you're kind of saying, yeah, we really give each other hell, and we are... all the while listen to this Capricorn speak right now. This is somebody with a Venus-Saturn square. All the while you're spending your time with somebody who treats you badly, you are not spending time with the person that treats you well, or being alone and enjoying freedom and enjoying your happiness. There's the Aquarius Venus speaking. Enjoying your freedom and discovering who you truly are. Serial monogamy has its drawbacks too. And being in one relationship after another, it's almost like you don't want to know who you are. You just want to be with somebody else constantly, rather than learning about who am I as an individual, So, yeah, don't put up with stuff just because you're either scared of being on your own or, it's just easier to stay together, And, oh, God, believe me, I do understand that relationships get much more complicated when you've got children. I was talking to a friend of mine the other day about this, and we were saying how, we used to hear people in their marriages and with kids and stuff talking about, oh, my partner does this, that and the other, and we'd be like, why are you with him? Like, why don't you just leave? And they go, I can't, it's so difficult. And we were just saying how it's so different when you're in that situation, because then you suddenly realise there's so much that is at risk, and sometimes the convenience of staying together is a very real thing. So yeah, relationships are complicated, as described through this entire episode. What isn't complicated is the term twin flame. It's so simple, it simplifies things so much, but it puts so much an umbrella over so many different things that it's easy to overlook the dangers of oversimplifying what is an extremely complex area of life. So there you go, that's my thoughts on twin flames and why I get annoyed about it. I do believe in a kind of karmic connection with people. I think you can feel it when you meet someone like that. I can anyway, my Scorpio moon can feel it. There's work to be done here, or, yep, I recognise you. There's something I recognise in that person. I often find I get a sense of recognition. I look at someone and I'm like, I can feel we are meant to do work together here. And I've had some karmic connections that have lasted very quickly and have been very painful, and are, it's almost like they're over in the blink of an eye, and left me really questioning myself, wondering what the hell's going on. And, like I said, it's not all peaches and cream. Sometimes these things are here to test us and challenge us and make us question ourselves. And, without those kind of connections, we would be floating through life pretty much in the same way you would just float through space with no gravity and no traction. You would just cruise, and something peaceful about just cruising through space, but you know what, it would be an entire lifetime of that. That sounds a little bit, it's more like limbo to me. So you know what, we need the sweet. We need the sour to appreciate the sweet, you know. There is no sweet without the sour. So yeah, that really is just a little waffle fest today for you. Just to explore that rather icky phrase that really, you know, if someone uses it in conversation with me, it does something to me. It makes me feel very uncomfortable to hear twin flame. And I think it's because so many people use it to describe a variety of different things without realising the danger of oversimplifying. But I also appreciate that that's somebody's choice of language because that's how they relate to the situation. So I'm not judging. I'm just saying it's just how it makes me feel. And, you know, don't stop using that phrase on my behalf because it's not, it's my issue, not yours. But just be aware that when you do talk about twin flames, you are, there's a lot of power packed into words, isn't there? And, you know, a simple word can have, you know, a multitude of meanings. And I feel like twin flame is that. It just means so many different things to so many different people. But the overarching sort of recurring theme, in my opinion, is it describes very toxic, difficult, complicated relationships, which often involve an element of like narcissistic mistreatment and abuse. You know, it really does, in my opinion. But that's just me. What do you think? I don't know. Like, perhaps I'm wrong. Maybe I'm overthinking it. Mercury, Pluto often does overthink these things. I would love to know your thoughts on twin flames. So do let me know, and I will definitely maybe, you know, do a follow-up where I can discuss different ideas around twin flames, because, you know, it would be great for you guys to teach me where I have a blind spot. It's just my thought on a concept. This is probably not even really an astrology thing. I could throw some astrology in there. I will do. I'm going to stick Lilith in there, and I'm going to stick Pluto in there for some of the more abusive twin flame elements of relationships. So if you've got a bit of Lilith contact, if you've got a bit of Pluto going on, there is definitely some challenges there that are going to need to be worked on in a relationship. And on that note, I am going to wrap this up. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to review. Don't forget to pay attention to whether or not I send you a private message on Instagram, because I don't tend to reach out to people saying, "Hello, beloved, I'm feeling drawn to you today." That's not me. It's not usually me. It's not me. I am at Stellium Astro. Stellium spelled Stellium, Astro, ASTRO. That's my Instagram handle. Any social media platform. I might reach out and say hi to people, but I don't ask you to have a reading. That's just not how I roll. Just check the spelling of the handle, and if you suspect that it's not genuine, you know, report it, basically, because it's really annoying me, these stupid people who clone Instagram accounts. It makes me want to get off the platform. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube. Don't forget to hit the bell for notifications. Don't forget to send me a screenshot when you have subscribed, because if for whatever reason I can't see your username on there, I will be able to stick you in a folder in my emails, and when it comes to the time of drawing names out of a hat, you could be a Magic of I astrological planner / almanac winner. On that note, I'm going to love you and leave you. Take care, guys, and I'll speak to you next week.